in sync, I guess, maybe. I don't know. I don't know why people do that. But we're here. We're here, people. We made it. My voice has progressively gotten better as this show has gone on. I had a bad voice. My voice was fucked up at the first episode. And it got a little bit better last episode. Now it's a little bit better this episode. But anyways, this is the Tommy Rants podcast. If you've made it for your third consecutive week, good for you. And I mean, I'm gonna do this whether people watch or not, so I guess it's not really good or bad for me. But I mean, hey, again, we're here, week number 3. Um, there's a lot has happened. I said that last week, but I mean, it's a week. The days are no longer like the news cycles are no longer 24 hours. It's really like a news cycle of every 12 or 6 hours, um, and that's how people get their information. I think that's how a lot of people live life now too. It's like, oh, I just live my life 6 hours at a time. At least like the super successful people that I am not. But I listen to all their stupid podcasts and read their expensive articles. They tell me that I should be living my life 6 hours at a time. But what if I sleep for 8? Then that fucks it all up. What if I only sleep for 4 hours? What if I don't sleep at all? Um, how do you judge meals at that point when it's a 6 hour? I don't know. There's a lot that goes into that. People who think about that stuff and are rich and can afford to think about that stuff, that's them. That's what they're doing. And it's good for them. It's really good for them. However, I'm a normal person. I'm an everyday average Joe, very aggressively average Joe. And yeah, that's just way too fucking much for me. So I live my life 24 hours at a time, though. That's a fact, 100%. And the key to really being an average Joe is to live your fucking life 24 hours at a time and be grateful for it too. The attitude of gratitude is something that a lot of people don't understand nowadays, and I think they're missing out on. I'm getting way too like coachy talk right now, so sorry about that. I'll get into the shit that really doesn't matter. Um, the biggest game of the year was played. Well, it's the biggest game of the year, but we played in February. But in reality, it's the biggest game of last year, right? Like because like it's the Super Bowl is played in 2025, but it's for the 2024 season. And I think it's criminal that football seasons have to be like 24-25 season now. It's like that shit's for basketball and fucking hockey. All right? Keep that keep that out of here. I think we need to start the NFL season a little bit earlier. Cuz it fucks with people. But anyways, the Super Bowl happened. The Eagles blew out. I did not think the Eagles like had a blowout in them. I really didn't think so. I mean, I didn't think the Eagles were gonna, or that the Eagles were gonna get blown out by the Chiefs. I didn't think the Chiefs had it really in them either. Um, and I guess that's saying more to like the Chiefs defense and the Chiefs offense than it is saying about the Eagles defense and offense. Either way though, like that was fucking just a down home, good old ass whooping if I've ever seen one. So, congratulations to the Eagles. I tell you what though, I knew when they were doing the intros and John Hamm came out, a lot of people who I was around was like, who the fuck is that guy? Um, but then Bradley Cooper came out with a kid in his arm. Oh, dude, you guys were fucked. Kansas City was screwed from the start, without a fucking doubt. You guys had no chance. Bradley Cooper came out with a kid. Are you kidding? Not like he didn't come out like and saying he was pregnant, but like he had a kid. Like on his, he was like, hey, let's EAG. They spell the whole thing. Um, yeah, like from then it was like, oh, the Chiefs might be kind of cooked here. Um, that and so that Bradley Cooper was huge, and then great segue, Cooper DeJean. My goodness, really putting on for the culture. There's been a lot of really silly videos coming out about like, did you ever see Jackie Robinson? It's like, no, but I saw Cooper DeJean as a white guy, and I don't know. That's a joke. It's not comparable at all. So I don't need people in the comments. I know not that there are people in the comments, but It's just a joke. This entire show is satire, okay? I don't mean any of the things I say here. That being said, Cooper DeJean, great performance. Way to really, he hammered down that position as the second exciting white of that defense, on top of letting the world know that the exciting whites are here to stay, and they're not going anywhere anytime soon. That, oh God, I just that's so hard to say without just laughing. Oh man. But yeah, he played great. The entire Eagles defense played great. Bomb with a great interception. They talked about it on the PFT show or whatever on Barstool. Like you gotta be able to get pressure on Patrick Mahomes with only four guys. And I really think, not to get on a bit of a Raiders tangent here, but I think the Raiders can do that if they stay healthy. I think they can get to Pat with only bringing four guys. I don't want to get too deep into football talk though. For you non-football people, you're just here, wanting to listening to me talk about a bunch of nothing. So, that being said, Taylor Swift got booed at the Super Bowl as well, which was huge. My heater just turned on, so if that's humming right now and fucking up the sound, we'll see. And we'll work through it. Just crank it up a little bit louder. Just turn that dial up on your drive to work that you're listening to me on. God bless you if you're listening to me on your drive to work. If you're that much of a psychopath, congratulations to you. I keep getting off track here, but Taylor Swift got booed at the Super Bowl. That was, again, just like gratifying. The whole game was just so gratifying. I haven't stopped smiling in days. Again, recording this on Wednesday, it'll be out on Thursday. Been smiling all week. Like listening to people at work talk about, oh, I'm going to take PTO on Wednesday, or I'm going to work a half day on Wednesday to go to the parade. How are we going to deal with time off around the parade? It's like, get fucked. This is what happens when you piss off the sports gods. When you piss off the sports gods and you start planning before it's happened, you get utterly boned. And the Chiefs got boned. And Taylor Swift didn't get proposed to by Travis Kelce, which utterly disappointing for most of the people watching, I would say. And honestly, too, they were getting their ass beat. She wasn't on the TV, I felt like, a lot. I spent the first half frying French fries for everybody at my house, so I didn't watch too much of the first half. And then I smoked a joint, so I don't really kind of remember the second half. But I don't, I don't remember Taylor Swift being like shown on the broadcast too many times. Maybe Tom Brady was like, I don't want to fucking see her. She's got nothing to do with the game. Or I don't know. The producers were like, hey, let's take it easy on Taylor. Either way, I feel like we didn't see her a lot. But it was just good. It was a good healing. You ever like cry with your best friend about some shit you went through? Or maybe like cried to your best friend about some shit you personally went through, not you two went through? Or like getting a big fight and then just, you have a big heart to heart. That's kind of like what that was. I mean, no one cried. I mean, I assume Chiefs fans cried. Um, but like, it was just healing. It was just healing. There was so much hate. Tybo said this last in our recap, Super Bowl recap. It was like, there was a lot of hate in the world leading up to this game. Maybe the Chiefs needed to get their ass beat for there to be a little bit less hate in the world. I commend Tybo for saying that, so shouts out you, Tybo. And then B, also, like, I really agree with that take. Like, there was a lot of hate going around from all over the place for a long time about the Chiefs and just in football. Hatred towards the refs, everybody. And that game, I think it healed a lot of people. I think we can now hear about the Chiefs and not get nauseous every time we hear about the Chiefs Kingdom or hear that type shit. I think less people will be pissed when they hear that. They hear Patrick Mahomes speak. They see a Captain Pfizer commercial, stuff like that. I just think they won't be maybe not the Pfizer one, but like their State Farm commercials and shit like that or whatever. That was a funny Allstate a deal they did on. I saw that on Twitter. That was funny. And I'll be honest too. It was hard for me watching the Super Bowl. Was hard for me because I wanted to feel bad. I live here in Kansas City. Spoiler. And we hosted the Super Bowl, and so I think every time the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl, I'm gonna host. Um, Secondly, I wanted to feel bad. Like I really did at one point. I was like, damn, this is an ass whooping. Maybe I should like give my condolences and like kind of like go and like start cheering for the Chiefs. But then I remembered that I'm a fucking Raiders fan, and I just started, like as politely as possible, like, oh, yeah, I mean, it might be over, dude. Do you think they can come back? Do you think 30 points is a lot? I don't know, man. I don't know. 30 points. What's been happening? How come they haven't moved Joe Tooney over? What's the How come the defense isn't getting pressure? All that stuff. No. I was a good host. I tried as hard as I could not to be an absolute prick. But now that the Super Bowl party's over, we're all really happy that the Chiefs lost. Everybody who's not a Chiefs fan is happy that the Chiefs lost. Unless, I guess, you're a Cowboys fan or a Giants fan or a Redskins fan. Then you can be pissed that the Chiefs lost. Even then, though, like, I don't know. So, Kendrick Lamar's halftime show, I went off about it last week. I'm not going to be brief. It was great. It was great. And I'll be honest, I said I was going to be disappointed if he didn't play any of the songs from Good Kid Mad City, Section 80 to Pimp a Butterfly. Like we didn't hear all the classic bangers that we thought we were going to get from him. But I saw another, I'm going to sound like a barstool fucking honk now. I saw a reel from KFC radio or whatever. He essentially Kendrick Lamar played all of his songs that he would get the most money for when people heard the song on the Super Bowl and then went to Spotify and played it as like a play or like a stream or whatever. Because all of that music he made earlier in his career, it was with like a different record label and he had a different contract or whatever. And now, all the songs that he played, I mean, I guess not all of them, but like a good amount of the ones that he picked because he knew they would blow up from the Super Bowl, and then he would get as much money as possible. Because I mean, like his numbers the numbers on all of his songs that he played have just doubled, quadrupled since he's been in the since he performed at the Super Bowl. So great for him. I think, and I just saw a stat on Twitter. It's the most watched Super Bowl performance ever. There were 133.5 million people watching that performance. Because there were 133.5 million people wanted to hear Drake get called a pedophile. And that is, again, healing. That's proof that we're still not just a bunch of fucking crazy ass animals living in this world trying to just slit everybody's throats. Well, Kendrick still kind of is, maybe a little bit. But I mean, yeah, he used the biggest televised concert of the year to just be petty towards one guy. And we had Serena, the whole thing with the PlayStation things. It's like a cheat code or whatever. Samuel L. Jackson, America, Canada, America, America, America. Oh, dude, I mean, it was the best. It was like, even though I said I was going to be mad if he didn't play all of his old music, what we heard was great. It was great. And, A minor. I mean, just, yeah, dude, like, great. Great stuff. Great stuff. And yeah, I mean, it was a good Super Bowl. So, I think everybody's happy that it went as well as it did. I truly do. And I think too, as I look at my notes here, yeah, Drake might be cooked. And just, dude, he did that after he essentially swept at the Grammys. Like, what a good fucking week. What a good fucking week for him. And the whole thing about Drake is like Drake had a concert that night too. It's like, well, I think not the older I get, but like the more we move through society with like social media and everything like that becoming a massive part of just everyday life and stuff like that as I fuck around on my iPad. I feel like people are like it's easier for people to separate the artist and the person. And I think with Drake they're gonna do that because he had a concert on Sunday night and a bunch of fucking people were there and he posted about it and a bunch of people still retweeted it and reposted it and put it on their stories and everything. So like Drake is still gonna be Drake. Don't get me wrong, but when you come after Southern California, you go after Compton, you go after LA like that, they're gonna let you know about it and they're gonna make sure that you know that you fucked up. All right, so never ever ever forget that, Mr. Drake. Never. Aubrey. That was my one cough break. There we go. I'm gonna cut that out. I hope. Not a coffee break. A cough. Cough. It's a cough break. If you're from the New York, I'm not. I wasn't even gonna try to do a borough. Um, on the complete flip side, though, from Kendrick, and kind of a segue of being able to separate the artist from the person. Kanye, I said that Twitter's a better place with Kanye's tweets on it. I think he went a little too far. He might have gone just a bit too far. Um, but that's the great thing about America, right? It's like we have freedom of speech. So if you want to profess that you're a Nazi and you hate all your Jewish friends and you think they all should probably get exterminated, that's totally fine. I don't agree with you, but thanks for letting us know. You're uninvited from the cookout now, right? It's like we like our Jewish friends. We like all of our friends. And if you're going to talk shit about our friends, well, then again, you're not invited to the cookout. Ye did that to himself. And what I really want to know is if he actually logged off or if Elon called him and was like, look, we can't have you talking like that. So we're gonna have to take away your Twitter account. Like it can't. You're a loose cannon. You know, we have to cut our losses, right? It was probably very similar to like what you hear from a someone getting fired corporately, right? Someone getting fired from a corporate job. It's like, look, especially like the hand clap, they rub their hands together. Like, I think we're just gonna go a different direction. We're gonna take this in a different direction, um, and we don't see you being part of this new direction, right? Like, I think that's probably how Elon broke it to Ye, or he was like, hey, you fucking Nazi, get off Twitter. I don't really know. Or maybe Ye was just like, yeah, I'm going to get off Twitter. But that being said, I'm glad he's off Twitter now because that was pissing a lot of people off. And again, I don't think it's fucked up that Twitter allowed him to say it. I think that's huge for like just that is America in a sense. Like that in and of itself is America, not the Nazi part, but like some guy spewing some crazy shit that he believes and a bunch of people going, we're gonna take a rain check on that. Let's get this guy in the fucking loony bin and continue our lives as normal, productive people of society, and not an expensive clothes maker whose girlfriend gets naked in public and is also a Nazi sympathizer. Like, if I told you someone was like that, you'd be like, yeah, they should probably get out of here. But the guy made music like 10 years ago that was pretty good, 10 plus years ago that was pretty good. So it seems like he's kind of getting away with a lot of odd shit right now. But again, I don't have control of that. All I can do is stop listening to Kanye's music. And that's what we all can really do. We can be pissed that he said it. That's great. Be angry that he said it, but just stop listening to his music. That's the best thing you can do. And if you can't separate the artist from the music in this sense, you might want to look at some of Adolf Hitler's paintings. That's all I'm going to say about that. If you can't separate the artist and the art, or the person and the artist and the artist and the art. If you can't separate the artist from the person, go look at some of Adolf Hitler's paintings, and tell me if you can't separate the artist from the person at that point. So that's all I'm going to say about Ye. I think I probably went a little bit too long on that. And we're going to go over our usual time today, which is good for you guys. and maybe good for me. I don't really know. That being said, and I just, goddamn, I'm just gonna continue going on awful, awful rants that people probably don't want to hear. Trump talked about buying the Gaza Strip in his pure real estate brain. He's just like, the Gaza Strip could be the new French Riviera. We could, the East Riviera, the French Riviera East. I think he was definitely talking out of his ass and just rambling, and everybody behind the cameras were just like, Jesus Christ, here goes this guy again with his mouth just running it. However, though, it made for some great, great memes and just social media reactions. Um, yeah, just done. There's huge real estate opportunities here in Gaza. We just have to make sure the Palestinians are okay with it. Like, there's my Donald Trump impression for you. But, like, my question is, like, America, if, like, we westernized the Gaza Strip and turned it into the the Middle East's French Riviera, what type of awful, super Americanized companies would you want to see on the Gaza Strip? Personally, for me, a Texas Roadhouse. I think that's number one. I think, because I don't want it. I don't want it to be pretty. I don't want Nobu there. I don't want a Four Seasons. Give me a Residence Inn and a fucking Hilton Home to Suites is probably the nicest thing you can put there. Other than that, again, Residence Inns, Hilton Home to Suites, maybe a Ramada. Throw a Ramada in there as well. Just high rises though, just dirt cheap. And then you put Texas Roadhouses in there, some Chili's, some Applebee's, an IHOP. We got to eat breakfast, right? That continental breakfast isn't probably going to be too good. And then for everybody to get their gas, we either throw in like a Buc-ee's or we just introduce super, like gas stations. We just create super gas stations for the Gaza Strip. I think that is how we could really, I don't want to say gentrify the Gaza Strip. I think we could make it more approachable. I think that's what would make it more approachable. If you just put a bunch of Four Seasons and the fucking what is the super nice the other hotel, Four Seasons, and like whatever. Like, I don't want Trump to put one of his hotels there. Like, don't do that. I've never been to one. I've heard they're nice though. Like, don't do that. I don't think, maybe a golf course, but like, let's just make it look like Springfield, Missouri, or Dayton, Ohio, or Phoenix. Let's make it look like Phoenix, Arizona. Not even that. Scottsdale. Let's make the Gaza Strip look like Scottsdale, Arizona. Just subtract. You know what? Give us the Buc-ee's, a Quick Trip the size of Buc-ee's. That would work. That would, although their pizza's very mid. Quick Trip pizza's very, very mid. Casey's has their number on that. But yeah. Oh, a Yard House too. I got that in my Yard House would just be. And that wouldn't work too because it's all meters over there, so people would be confused as shit. What is a yard like? Is it someone's backyard and like the food you would eat at someone's backyard? It's like, no, the beers are a yard. They're 3 feet long. And then they're like, what's a fucking foot? And it's like, I don't know. Read a book. Maybe. Yard House would be hilarious though. And like fast food, of course. I feel like fast food's already kind of like all over the world though. I'm talking sit down restaurants. Give us the shittiest sit down restaurants America has to offer. Stick them on the Gaza Strip. Again, I don't want rich people there. I want families who again are going to stay at a Ramada Inn, at a Springfield Suites, at a Residence Inn. I want people like that. Get plane tickets cheap as hell too. I think that's how we can fix some things. Or I just sound like a complete idiot. Well, I know I sound like a complete idiot, but yeah. That's not all I have, but that's most of what I have. And yeah, I probably should have just used this as a segue from the Super Bowl, but we're just stuck in kind of sports purgatory right now, the buffer zone. Basketball, both professional and collegiate basketball are just, they're not interesting right now. They're not. And they're not going to get interesting until late March, early April. Um, the March Madness doesn't even start till like March 19th. It starts in late March. I remember when it used to start way earlier. But we got to televise all the motherfucking conference championship games, and we got to play the first four in, and then we got to televise the selection show because that's cool now, and we have to see everything that these kids are constantly doing. I'm going off on a tangent here. Forgive me. But yeah, no, there's a huge buffer right now between the end of March and the beginning of April and right now. We got to get through 4 weeks. What are you gonna do as a sports fan for the next 4 weeks? You're gonna watch midweek hockey, maybe midweek collegiate hockey. The collegiate hockey is like you better live in Fargo, North Dakota, or up in Minnesota or something like that. If you live in Texas and you're watching midweek college hockey and you're betting on it, call the number. There is tennis going on right now. Maybe there's a tennis thing happening, so you can look into that. Bowling, professional bowling. Maybe I don't know the seasons for that. Same with pool or World Series of Poker. Watch that. Get into that. Don't gamble on those sports, for the love of God. Don't do that. But watch. For me, I'm a golf guy. I like watching golf. And I'll get into hockey as it goes to Six Nations Rugby's happening right now. I like watching that. I like the Irish. I'm not a bandwagon. The Irish. Ireland. I like Ireland. I'm not a bandwagon. Liked them my whole life. But yeah, there's just this. This is the buffer zone. This is what, again, we call purgatory. You have to find something that's going to fill the void. And if you're gambling on spring training baseball games, call the fucking number. You're a sicko. You're a fucking sicko. Don't bet on anything baseball until like September and save yourself. I dropped my iPad, so I'm going no notes for the rest of this. But yeah, like don't bet on it. Just watch it. And if you can't watch without gambling, find a different fucking hobby. Start knitting or going for runs, working out, cooking. Try making a souffle. Put together a nice creme brulee. Now I'm rhyming. Learn how to make a lobster, a Maine lobster roll. For the love of your life. Friday's gonna be, what's that day? Valentine's Day is Friday. I should do something for my fiance. I don't know what. Comment below if you think I shouldn't do something for my fiance on Valentine's Day, or if I shouldn't. That would be funny. She would not appreciate really any comments at all, but hey, we're here. Yeah, we got to fill the void. Fill the void with something. Then sports will start to matter again. But just right now, sports doesn't fucking matter. Sports doesn't matter. If you've been delaying that call with your cousin because you hit on your cousin's wife a little too hard at a wedding in the fall and you haven't had time to call your cousin and apologize for that, do that. If you haven't seen your parents in a while, go see your parents. If you need to get out of the house away from your griping wife and the crying kid and all this and all that, go down to Arizona again. I guess I'm shouting at her, or like Florida. Go on a golf trip. Go watch a hockey game. Go just take care of regular life things for the next month. Then, once late March hits, March Madness, end of hockey season, or regular season, end of NBA regular season, you can become a sports maniac again. The Masters is also in like late March, early April as well. So get your life together for the next 4 weeks. And then, save up a paycheck or two, and then really just start you start the year over. You get to this is your off season. Enjoy it, use it. The year starts again come the end of April. We'll talk more about that later. That's all the time I have for you guys right now. there should be an episode next week. I hope so. I hope more shit happens between now and next week. If not, there won't be a show, or there could be one. Thanks for listening, I guess. Maybe. Have a good one.